welcome to the Hindu temple one more time. Oh, I like the smiling face there. All right, okay. Welcome to the Hindu temple. My name again one more time is Mohan Ramaswamy. Everybody calls me Mohan. More people call me Mohan Uncle, no matter what age. So a lot of people call me Mohan Uncle. I've been a devotee of this temple since its inception, 1977. In brief, how much do I have? 15 minutes?
I think...
Because I want to leave some...
Was that? Yeah, well, I think we could probably go, maybe stay down here until about 3:30. Okay. And then if people want to have a few more minutes to look around upstairs, and then
because you completely missed that one section.
I know. I'd still like to. But I think people can just on their own independently.
So I will give my, what do you call it? Abridged version of 10 minutes.
Abridged version, and
then some question. Any questions? Any questions? Hold on to them. Okay. Because in my presentation, maybe the answer will come.
So let's do abridged, and then Q&A. I would still like to have people have a few more minutes.
So I will try to do within 5 minutes.
Okay.
About the temple, and 5 minutes to what about. I have this thing about no matter who told you don't believe the British, I want to say it myself. You heard that this morning, 2 minutes, so about that. Okay, anyway. So, when the temple was constructed, there was a Russian Orthodox church here. They bought it, and in order to buy a piece of land, where a religious place of worship needs to be built, you have to be citizens. And there was not a single Hindu citizen at the time, in 1970. So, a couple of Christians and Jewish people got together, bought the land, it was prime area, and then waited for a few citizens to issue Hindu citizens, and then they gave it to them. So we started the whole place through interfaith cooperation. So that's why our symbol is an ecumenical symbol. You will see symbols of Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, all that will be. It's a very nice way of starting a place of worship. We picked the Ganesha as the remover of obstacles. As we are immigrants, we'll face a lot of obstacles, so we want a specialist in removing obstacles. Contrary to what anyone will tell you, Hinduism has one God. Some really learned Hindu scholars will say it's not one God, it's only God. They say that the creation came out of the Creator, so everything is divine. So it's only God, and that's what Hindu scholars will tell you. I'm a student of Dayananda Saraswati for 12 years, so he taught us that way. And anything I say is just whatever he tells us. He's an expert on the Vedas and scriptures. So there are 4 major sects in SECTS in Hinduism. It coincides with the creation, preservation, and destruction and re-emergence of the cycle, endless cycle of creation, preservation, destruction. And the 4th one came out of practical necessity. The creation is associated with Brahma, the creator. And who do you need? What do you need for creation? You need an engineer and somebody with knowledge. Where do you go? You go for a female. So that's Saraswati. So knowledge, he showed you, this is Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. So Brahma, so the male energy is incomplete without a female energy. So they unite to give us all what we need. Preserver is Vishnu. What do you need for that? Wealth, meaning land, resources, etc. Vishnu, in order to provide that, who do you need? Female again. Well, the goddess of wealth is Lakshmi. So he unites to provide for all of us. And then you have destruction. In order to do that, you destruct and recreate is Shiva. The strength, where do you go for strength? Again, a female deity, goddess Durga. So you unite to provide all. So then what happened inevitably, as human beings do, the Shaivite and the Vishnu sects were fighting with each other. Shivacharya is an expert on Shaivite area. I don't know if it's coincidence or not, he completely missed the Vishnu. What's the idea? So people were fighting with each other. So one great saint named Shankara said, crazy, there's one God, many forms, so therefore you can pray to any form. And that is called Smarta, S-M-A-R-T-A, being smart about it. Oh, Smarta is a Sanskrit word. So this temple started out as a Shaivite temple, but it became a Smarta temple, all kinds of deities. Why? We don't have the luxury, or the money or the time to build one for each specialty So therefore we brought it all together, became a cultural center, became an interfaith center. We have so many, we had iftar dinner just 3 weeks ago with the Turkish Council of Queens 3 weeks ago, similar to we had it last year. We had Jewish people come here, we have Christian people come here, jointly celebrate Korean Independence Day and Indian Independence Day on the same day. So we still jointly celebrate with the Koreans. So our extension is to the larger community that way. Because if we don't do that, the younger generation do not understand all this. They call it mumbo jumbo, rituals, etc. So in order to bring the younger generation, we have to reach out to other places, other religions, etc. Anything that we do upstairs is symbolic. I will come to the coconut. Well, there was a coconut request in here somewhere. All right, I'll come back to the coconut in a second. So one example for the Ganesha, you see a mouse as a vehicle. Every deity has a vehicle. Mouse is a symbolic of your wandering brain. So Ganesha helps you control the mind, control the mind. So his vehicle is such. I'm going to ride the vehicle the way I want towards my destination. So that's symbolism. Everything upstairs you saw is symbolism. So therefore, we believe ego is our biggest impediment for our spiritual growth. And what promotes your ego is through your 5 senses: eyes, ears, taste, touch, and smell, right? That's what they are doing actually in any place of worship, but certainly in Hindu place of worship too. So the decorations, etc., instead of seeing, what do people do? They spend all these 5 senses concentrated on bad things, whether it's drugs, whether it is indulging in certain things, whether it is associating with the wrong people, etc. So instead of that, we're going to focus the 5 senses on the spiritual path. That way we can control the ego. Ego is our biggest stumbling block for our spiritual growth. So eyes decorate everything, clean, everything is clean, pleasing to look at. And then you have ears, music, chanting, devotional music, etc. It's not unique to Hindu temples if you think about it. Then smell, the incense sticks, the whole dravyas or the materials that they pour on the Lord, abhishekam or bathing. And then you have taste. After puja, they give you a drop of water, holy water, then you take it, and then take the light, which is the light of knowledge. You do this, say that I want your knowledge of the Lord permeating all over the body. Hello. Dr. Uma Maisareka,
I haven't run into him.
President of
He said to me, will you come and say hello to the teachers? That's why I said, I must. But Henry says I can't say no.
Oh,
you can see how one of the great.
Wonderful, very welcome to warm welcome to all of you.
She wants to finish this too.
You finished? Okay, very good. So hopefully you take a great message back, and we welcome you back again anytime. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. See you, Mohan.
She's the president.
I know we're going to do this backwards, but to introduce Dr. Uma Maisareka, who's the president of the
I'm the prime minister of the OBG. Excellent. They're all volunteers. She's a volunteer. They're all volunteers. She has won several awards. This award, this award, that award. She's on the roller neck of the English invitation roller neck of the White House. She goes for inaugurations of the president, every one of them in the last 3. So, but by looking at her, you wouldn't tell her. She donated lots of money to the temple. Very, very accomplished. Follow a true Hindu because humility. If you are a true Hindu, humility is number 1. So.
Yeah, and also I'd say another great example of like in many religious communities, in Hinduism, women are generally not ordained as priests, but that doesn't mean that they're not, Dr. Uma's boss. She's in charge, and a hugely influential leader of the community, despite the fact that she could never be ordained as a clergy person.
Women are not ordained priests. If there are in India, I don't know about them. There may be here and there, I don't know, but there are thousands of women teachers in India, saints and teachers that propagate, that talk, that interpret the scriptures. So, ego being the thing, that's why you see the taste, if you will, the smell, and then the whole environment, the air around you is all sanctified with all the, so it is all five senses are focused on spirituality, and that's the purpose of all the rituals that you see upstairs. And it symbolically, Hinduism does not believe in group salvation due to the fact that it's reincarnation. Every soul attains salvation eventually after several cycles of birth and death. So you would have seen, you can see it today, there's a green bag, that they grocery bag, and they put apple and flowers, etc. And then the priest will introduce, of course we charge $9 for it. 9 seems to be a favorite number. You guys also. 9 seems to be a favorite number. So anyway, 9 is an auspicious number, by the way. It's according to Hindu scriptures. So they pay, and then the priest does individually introducing, saying, Mohan, his nakshatra is Swati, his lineage is Kaundinya, so I know my lineage of, well, 1,000 years ago, this particular saint, this particular rishi or a teacher was our first teacher. So this is how it's all introduced, okay? So that's why you have so many deities, because there are, our scriptures speak about 330 million forms of the Lord, and then it says, I'm sorry, I'm limiting you. So, because there could be no one size fits all, every human being is different, so you have to make a personal connection. So I may go around, I have so many friends, but I have a best friend, likewise I have a best deity. Which Shivaji I have missed, this is Vishnu. That's my favorite deity. Now, questions?
So, and I have a little bit, perhaps, insight into what was the ritual that was going on upstairs. You talked about the five senses. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about what those men were doing upstairs.
There were two priests sitting.
Yes.
First of all, why are they bare-bodied? Above the waist? Why? Because they are servants of the Lord. That's why hair, they would shave off the hair or wear it in a funny way, because hair and the clothes that you wear give you ego, and they cannot have an ego inside the four walls of the prayer, so they have to, the hair is funnily, I have to say it's my favorite joke, because hair is, they say that I use L'Oreal because I'm worth it, so because of the ego that you take care of the hair, so they do something in the hair. Even the Muslim faith, they cover the thing because that's attractive to other people, if you will. So hair is something that you cannot progress in the spiritual path if you are more concerned about your physical appearance. So that's the path to salvation and spiritual path to salvation. These rituals are all means to an end. So spirituality being the path and the end being salvation. All souls merge with the divine after several births and deaths. No, like no child left behind. Anything else? Yeah.
I'm just
The I gotta go the ego. Let me finish that. Because the ego, the shell of the coconut is hard as an ego. So you break the ego so that it can connect with you. So to symbolically break the coconut so the good stuff inside you comes out.
But on a practical, like day-to-day life, like when do people actually come in with coconuts to break them? Like how does that work?
Anytime during the day, anytime there's outside, there's a place to break it. Not more than one place to break a coconut. So, ego being, I mean, as a Hindu, the more I study the scriptures, I've been a student since 1988 to this teaching. One of the greatest teachers of modern times, and he happened to open a branch in Salisbury, Pennsylvania. So we used to run to every weekend with the whole family going and learning from 1988 to 2001. We went there almost every weekend. We went there. So you get so much of it from being a cutthroat chief financial officer to coming into. I was a CFO of a large company. So, anybody else? Oh, he had something, and then I'll come.
Yeah, just like, I noticed that the garlands were fresh flowers.
Every day. Every day we buy flowers and then volunteers, priests and volunteers can put that in markets. So we take what we're saying, this is nature's gift to us, we are offering the same gift back to you. The garland is pleasing to the eye. So instead of seeing something that you shouldn't be seeing, or rather be focusing on the Lord, that's one of the five senses being directed. Anybody else? Yeah.
I had a question about the facial markings, as we talked to.
Yeah, this way would be Shiva.
Okay.
This way would be Vishnu. So these are basically showing that when we say Namaste, I bow to the divinity in you. That's what that means, Namaste. So particularly women, but both men and women, wear something in here saying, look at me, not as a flesh and like a human body. Don't look at the divinity in me. And you do that, and then you remind people, you remind others, so that I have the divinity in me, and that's how it's going on. Here, Shivacharya said, I am a devotee of Shiva. Me being a devotee of Vishnu, I wear this with three up. Between the two of us, we've got all up. Yes. I welcome to you.
Okay.
So you said ego, and it's like a battle for it in Hinduism, but is that a word that comes from like Freud? So I'm wondering like what the Sanskrit term or like translation.
Karvam, Sanskrit, okay.
And what would you like describe? Is it exactly ego, or is it?
You say that, yeah, it is ego. It is ego. It is Freud just came. Hinduism was there 5,000 years ago. So this is in the Sanskrit literature age old. So it basically says that you are an ego because you are always going about hoarding, okay, to satisfy the five senses on this earth. Everything you do is to satisfy one of the five senses, or one or more of the five senses. So these are the instruments of the five senses. So that's what the ego is exercised, added, grown through the five senses. So that's really murga or garva, those are the Sanskrit terms. My wife would have even given you how the word came about, because he's a Sanskrit teacher, but I'm not a Sanskrit teacher, I'm just a student. Yes.
You may have answered this, but people give fresh fruit and, like it said, milk offerings. What happens to those? The offerings to
Since Lord is the universe, He represents the universe, not just us, universe. All the planets, you saw the 9 planets, 7 planets and 2 nodes. So the Lord is everything, and every prayer of us, almost every prayer of us, except that is specified during certain festivals for the individual, calls for the welfare of the entire universe. Hey rain, you do your job. Hey sun, you do your job. Hey land, hey chemical process, you all do your job. So I am going to offer first bathe with auspicious bath through water, and then milk is a symbolism of, shall we say in the olden days, protein, if you will, nourishing. So let the whole universe be nourished. So they do. Now, the kids in here, my son, including my son, daughter, including, you're wasting the milk when you have millions of babies going hungry. So what we do is practically, they get so many gallons of milk, but they just use 1 gallon to symbolically do the bathing. The rest goes to the cafeteria.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And our cafeteria is busy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because a lot of milk-based products that we cater to all of North America. From here, UPS parcels go every day. Unbelievable.
From the canteen?
All of North America. Every day UPS parcels, at least 10 of them, to any part of North America.
Wow.
Very, very famous snack. You didn't buy those snacks, they're all stored on the side. Yes. Anybody? Yes, sir.
I thought maybe it would be interesting that if you talked about Ganesha Chaturthi, and when you take the celebration of the birthday of Ganesha out into the community, into the neighborhood.
Ganesha Chaturthi. Chaturthi is the 4th day of a particular month. Ganesha is the name of the Lord in here. Our scriptures say that recognize that not all the citizens can come to the temple. So what they do is they take a smaller version. The 5 metals combined will prepare a small deity, and then take it around the streets of the villages, so that the old and the disabled, the people who can't come, they can come to the front door and look at the smaller version of the deity So they go around. So we follow that in here, in New York City. Thanks to this great country, so we can follow this in New York City. We get police permission on Main Street and side streets, etc. And we take this Ganesha sometime in the late second half of August or first half of September, depending on which particular day the particular muhurta, the important day falls. And it's really, it's not linked to English calendar. English calendar was not around when these scriptures were written. So it's on a particular day when the stars align one way. So we take the murti around. All around murti means deity around, all over. And then we come back. So believe it or not, the shops all on the road, on the way, they all give free food, free soft drinks, free, all around, including non-Hindu shops. So everybody. When we first started this temple, there was so much opposition around us. Now they say Ganesha Chaturthi, all the neighbors, non-Hindu neighbors, because they all get these big food gift packs. And they're all waiting, and then they want to. About 2,000 to 3,000 people participate in the procession, and a good 10% of them are, I would say, Caucasians. Non-Hindus even higher. But I don't know whether they stay the entire route, but at least certainly the politicians see votes and they come.
Not to sort of dwell on the negative at all, because I know the relationship, as you were just saying, like the broader community has really embraced the temple, but it wasn't that way always.
Long time.
Could you talk a little about that?
What?
The history there of like those challenges, and how did you build a better relationship with the larger community around the temple?
It's the fear of the unknown, basically. When people come, they haven't seen this, because of the Immigration Act in 1965, allowed people from Asia to come. In this country, when people say Asians, they think only Chinese, Korean, etc. They completely forget us. Only 1 billion of us left there, but completely forget us. So now, the Immigration Nationalization Service started to process the Indian visas. And my brother, who was a master's degree holder, got his green card as he walked in through the gates, because they were welcoming scientists, doctors, etc. So green card was given as people were coming in. And then it became a flood of people. And then by the time I came in, I had triple masters and a professional degree from India, etc. Still I had to jump through hoops. That's why I get very upset with this undocumented, because they got an easy out of it. I had to jump through hoops. So the part of me says everybody should come here illegally because I went through it. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. When I brought my wife, it takes a few months to get there. When I got married, my father put an ad in the paper and said bride wanted for son living in New York City. And there were hordes of applications. So I flew there for 10 days. Day one, I met her.
Because you're so wonderful, or they wanted New York City?
Day one, are you kidding me? They landed there. They haven't even seen it, so you figure it out. So I landed there, I see my bride to be, and then she's supposed to sing or play a musical instrument to impress me. And this is a tradition. So this I'm talking about 39 years ago. So it still happens to a lot lesser extent. Nowadays it's different. So we met, and then immediately everybody said, okay, we have already booked the wedding hall and all that. I said, whoa, I have to ask one question. I have to talk to her alone. What? Talk to a bride alone before the marriage? So I said, come on over, I'm staying in the hotel. I said, not even scared the heck out of her. But made sure she came, and I went for a coffee, and then her dad brought her, and he was standing in the balcony, and this is all relevant, by the way, in the balcony, and making sure I'm not touching her hand or something like that, because she's not married. So that particular, so I asked her one question, do you know what you're doing? You're leaving everything, all the comfort, and coming to New York City with somebody who's just starting life, and I have nothing. I don't even have a savings, $1. I came to this country with $8 in my pocket. Truly, that's the story. And me and a whole bunch of people who came during that period, they were allowed only $8. So it was tough. I go and work and pay for the rent, etc., etc. So what a great country! One more time. So people didn't like it at all. Then they see that one guy looks at me and jokingly, or no, he thought it was a derogatory term. He said, Gandhi. To me, Gandhi is, he thought he was actually putting me down by saying Gandhi. So I was so happy, I thought, hey, great, brand new, I was brand new. So I said Lincoln, because he had a beard. Seriously! True story! God was my witness. Truly that happened. What other guy told me, hey, look at me, hey man, you want some loose joint? And I didn't know what joint. I thought my joints were. My mom told me, be careful. This is the truth. I'm not going to hide anything. My mom said, especially African-looking people, you have to be careful. That's what my mom told me. I'm telling you the truth. This is what happened. So I'm in the elevator. The guy says, loose joints, and mommy was right. I didn't know. I was brand new 2 days in this country. So my joints are, I want to keep my joints. So he says, he didn't understand what, then he says, he thought I didn't understand it. So he says, I said, I don't even smoke. So you have to, that is how I started not knowing anything, even though I was educated and English was reasonably good. So, and then my wife comes and then she goes, there used to be a group called in the late 70s and early 80s, for about 5 to 7 years, dot busters. Anybody wearing a dot in here, I'm going to beat them up. So that's what they call the dot busters. And they were, even my wife was accosted and here I don't know how she escaped or whatever. Somebody pulled on a chain and said, go Indian, go back, illegal alien. Our card, used to call it, my card, immigration card, was labeled as alien registration card. That's what it's called. Alien registration card. Until ET came along, then they changed it. ET, So, the evolution, you have to live through it. Yeah, when you live through it and you see. And then, it went the pendulum swung the other way. I'm a finance guy, I'm sitting in an American Italian restaurant. Sister, can we come in? So what, my cook is really sick. You assume because I'm Indian and a doctor. To the other end, you know? I didn't know why is saying you take time now.
You didn't tell us what your wife said when you asked her the question.
Oh,
Why did she want to?
I think she said.
she said yes. she said, I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I know what I'm doing. Although in retrospect, she had no clue. She didn't know what she was doing. She was here and she was crying for the first several, giving up a completely different culture and coming. We didn't know there was only one Indian shop in the entire Queens area at the time when I first came. So if you want to buy something ethnic, you have to take. I didn't have any money, so I had to take this bus and that train and this every Saturday. And then immediately, we had 2 kids right away. First year, 1 kid, second year, 1 kid. So, I mean, you live from paycheck to paycheck. And it's very, 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 I would not, I'm going to put this way, I would not give that up for anything. But that was a beautiful spiritual, start of the spiritual time. Because we believe most of the people should be married, and both of them should do their rituals together. If for some reason the wife passes away, the man cannot do certain rituals without a wife. There are certain rules, especially the fire rituals, you need the wife to do that. So these are so we followed all that stuff as much as we can. Our children are complete. My daughter went to Harvard Medical School. My son is in private equity, Texas Pacific Group. He's a partner in a private equity. They are not into rituals, but are certainly grounded into this. If you look at them, they would dress this simply and talk, and then they have charitable foundations set up here, there, etc. To me, nobody is successful unless they give out as much. My teacher told me that you should give until it pinches you. It's not like 10%, 5%, it's like until it pinches, until you feel that you keep giving, and we follow all that stuff in our personal life. Any other question? So, from that point, from that point on, the neighbors found out that we are actually enhancing the community, we are actually adding to the community, and they they see all these, most of the Indians here are well off. They see all these great cars come in, people come and spend money in this neighborhood area. Say, you're welcome, if you have money, come on. So from that, I would say it's a blessing that we came to New York City and I stayed in here because the diversity in New York City was way ahead of the rest of the nation. So therefore, my boss used to tell me I have a good job, so I need to transfer over there, but you'll get killed. I don't want to send you. I like it too much. So he kept me in New York, and I grew in New York. So I indebted him for thinking that I didn't know. So he made sure that I don't go somewhere here that because you get killed if I send it to a plant or somewhere else. Those days, I don't think now. So. Anyhow, any other question? Yeah.
What is your relationship with the other temples nearby? Are they completely separate, or are there any?
They're all separate, no relationship other than same devotees go to multiple temples. There's one temple in here, it's called Bats, it's a Swaminarayan temple. They do not believe in all these deities. They have this one person who they think is God, and then when he passed away, he appoints somebody else, and that person does that. So those people they come, but they don't do that much with us. They have about close to 1 billion of those followers.
Not just in New York, but
In the world. So they have a few hundred, maybe 10,000 people.
That's interesting to point out, though, that devotees will go, it's not like in some faith communities, like there's the church or the synagogue that you're specifically a member of, and you might go somewhere else, like for someone's wedding or whatever, but like when I go to synagogue, I go to my synagogue. But it's not the same kind of congregational membership. Like people will go to different places, and I'm sure they have their favorites.
Their favorites, but yeah, exactly. Our scriptures actually specifically tell you to go on a pilgrimage to certain temples throughout India. So we did that. My brother did 108 of them. 108 temples he visited, including one like 7,000 feet out up in the mountains. So the scriptures tell you to do that. So I have not done 108. I've done probably 70.
Think you could do 108 in New York, or did that one?
I don't know.
Not quite yet.
These are specific temples, and it's not really 108.
Okay.
It's actually 106. 108 is merging with the divine. Anything else?
Jake, one more?
Yeah.
That one, it sounds like when you first got here, there was very little community to support you, and I'm just wondering, did you ever question the faith that you had, that you brought with you, or did you ever accompany new American friends to their churches or synagogues, because there's a big Jewish community here, and like, did that either enhance your belief, or did it challenge your belief, or did that never happen?
I would say that I was totally immersed in the Hindu faith because of the way I was raised. Because we all have altar at home, so we go and went and pray. Nowadays I don't stay with my children because they sleep till 9 o'clock during the weekend. I'm up at 5:30 ringing the bell and doing puja, prayer, etc. It would not be a fit. So I bought a condo in Lexington, Massachusetts. So I stay away and during the day go visit my grandchildren. And then after then come back to New York. Same thing I do in California with my son. So I was always a strong Hindu. So.
But can I interrupt that? Sorry to interrupt, but that's another really good point, the importance of domestic worship. As incredibly important as building temples like this is, the first new Hindu immigrant in New York with no community around them can still practice nearly every element of the faith, like, through a home altar and doing things on their own at home. Right?
Most grahasthas, the people who are married, do 90% of the worship at home, through festivals, etc., etc. You don't even have to go to the temple under Hindu scriptures, but they say that God is everywhere, just like water is everywhere, but you cannot go drink the water everywhere. There's a particular place sanctified, likewise the temple is, so you have to go to that temple. So it's call you to go to the temple periodically, but they it calls for us to do certain things at different times in the day, short prayers, to be in the focus of the spiritual path. So I never missed it. I didn't worry. I swear, I tell you, I go to the church, I went to the synagogue, I always saw Narayana or Vishnu everywhere. It doesn't matter to me, everybody is the same. All are Vishnu. And most Hindus, ardent Hindus will say, I don't have any problem because Hinduism says there are many paths to salvation. No one particular religion is the path is the way. So I go, I carry within here. So I go, no matter where I go, I connect immediately. Even if I see the cross, I see Narayana. I have no problem going this way.
So, thank you.
I hope I didn't bore you guys.
I was going to say, we still have